Hello guys, my name is Desmond and I welcome you to my lesson for today. Ladies and gentlemen, today we'll be looking at mathematics paper 1, May or June exam paper. This was for the year 2021. So guys, remember, a day without learning something new, it's a day wasted. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, please do make sure that by the end of each and every lesson that I conduct, you learn something new. Okay? Very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen. So guys, as you know, with this type of questions, I'm mostly interested in just taking you through the steps in which you might need to follow in approaching this type of questions. So remember guys, mathematics of the year 2021. So this was a mid-year exam. Okay, very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen. So now, before we get started, let me just quickly try and get a different color there. So let's have a look at question 1 of this question paper. So 1.1, ladies and gentlemen, they want you to do nothing else but solve for x. Okay, most important, ladies and gentlemen, most importantly, when the question says solve for x, okay, they're simply saying in the end, tell us what the value of x is. Okay, massively important, ladies and gentlemen. What is the value of x? That's what they want you to calculate. So in some instances, you might find that you've got two values of x. Okay, it depends on the nature of the question. So you might need to provide two values of x. In some instances, you might provide one value of x. Hence, I said it depends on the nature of the question. Okay, massively important, ladies and gentlemen. So at all times, be aware of what the question might want you to calculate. Okay, so in this case, obviously, they want you to calculate the values of x. So, as I've indicated, it all depends on the nature of the equation in terms of the form or the manner in which you should represent your final answer. Most importantly, in most cases, with this type of questions, you might be required to provide two values of x. So now, let's have a look at our very first question, 1.1.1. So, you're given an equation which is x squared minus x minus 20, it's equals to 0. Okay, and ladies and gentlemen, this question, it's allocated 3 marks. Okay, obviously guys, because this equation is already equated to 0, then it means straight away you can find the factors. Okay, so it means straight away you can factorize. Give us what are the values there, and equate the whole of that to 0, or equate the whole of that to 0 and provide two values of x, ladies and gentlemen. In that way, that's how you score yourself 3 marks. So you're most likely to get some marks for finding the correct factors. You might be given 1 mark for the other x value and the other mark for the x value. Okay, very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen, that you fully understand what the question wants you to do. And most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, it's very, very much important that you provide both the values of x. Okay, so now let's move to question 1.1.2, where you are given an equation which is 3x squared minus 2x minus 6. All of this is equated to 0. Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't end there. They say correct the two decimal places. Massively important, ladies and gentlemen. And this question, it's allocated 4 marks. Okay, so guys, please do make sure that when you're given this type of a question, because they said correct to 2 decimal places, then it means this is not a perfect square. Okay, it's not a quadratic equation where you can find the factors. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, it simply means you must use a quadratic formula. Guys, it's very, very much important that, at all times, you know this formula by heart. So I'm just going to write it down there for you. Very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen. The formula says x, it's equals to negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac, all of this, ladies and gentlemen, divided by 2a. Massively important, ladies and gentlemen. So this is the general formula for calculating the values of x where you are given a quadratic equation. Okay, massively important, ladies and gentlemen. So now let's have a look at our given equation. Okay, so on the given equation, ladies and gentlemen, you can see already massively important, this is equated to 0. Okay, so it means it's already in the standard form of ax squared plus bx plus c. Already it's equated to 0. Okay, so that means, ladies and gentlemen, this formula, it's only applicable if you are given an equation which is already in the standard form. Okay, I hope you fully understand that part, ladies and gentlemen. So now you need to identify your a value. Okay, so obviously, guys, there is the position of your a value, which is 3. Ladies and gentlemen, what is your b value? Okay, is it a positive 2 or is it a negative 2? Ladies and gentlemen, each and every number has got its own sign. So the sign of 2, it's either positive or negative. But in this case, it's given as a negative sign. Okay, massively important, ladies and gentlemen. So that means there you substitute negative 2. Obviously, your c value, it's a negative, which is negative 6. So ladies and gentlemen, you need to identify your values of a, b, and c. As soon as you do that, ladies and gentlemen, you substitute into this formula your a value, your b value there, a, b there, a, and your c value there. Most importantly, guys, when you substitute at all times, make sure that you substitute in brackets. Okay, this is to avoid getting the wrong answers. Okay, massively important, ladies and gentlemen. So now we can move to the next question. So I assume, ladies and gentlemen, it makes a perfect sense. Okay, so remember, guys, I've started with my WhatsApp lessons where only serious or only dedicated learners are able to join us in that group. Okay, but guys, the time in that group, it's limited. You obviously won't be in that group forever. But if you feel like you are at that stage where you value your education, ladies and gentlemen, on my website, there's somewhere you can drop a message. So just send a message indicating that you have watched this lesson and you would like to be in my WhatsApp group for that period of time. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I'll explain to you in detail in terms of what is expected of you in case if you need to be in that WhatsApp group for the longest time that you need. Ladies and gentlemen, let's now move to question 1.1.3. Okay, remember, guys, this question is just to analyze it. There will be some lessons, especially in my WhatsApp, where I provide special attention in terms of attending to your questions in relation to this type of lessons. And again, I'm going to make a lesson, especially towards your exams, where, ladies and gentlemen, where I solve these questions by providing answers. So it's more advantageous that you remain in that WhatsApp group of mine, because you easily know how to solve this type of questions before you get to your exams. Massively important. Let's now move to question 1.1.3, where we are given what we call a quadratic inequality. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a quadratic inequality. Because of that squared, I'm able to see that it's a quadratic. Because of that sign of greater than, then it means it's an inequality. Very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen, that you are able to differentiate between a quadratic equation and a quadratic inequality. So what makes it a quadratic is because of a squared, and what makes it an equation in that case is because of that equal sign, ladies and gentlemen. It's what makes it an equation. So what makes it an inequality in this case is that sign, which could be greater than is equals to, less than, or less than it's equals to. Massively important, ladies and gentlemen, that you fully understand this information. Okay, so obviously guys, when you're given a quadratic equation or a quadratic inequality, you need to rewrite that given equation in the standard form by following mathematical procedure. Very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen. So you need to write it in the form of a x squared plus b x squared plus c. In this case, it's going to be greater than, or for some reason, if it happens to be less than, then it's less than. Then on this side, it has to be 0. Okay, so this is the quadratic standard form of an inequality, quadratic expression, or whatever that you call it, ladies and gentlemen. So that means for this type of a problem where you're dealing with inequalities, you need to write it in the standard form, and that's if it's a quadratic inequality. Ladies and gentlemen, I just noticed something, and I'm sure you also noticed. Let me just quickly indicate my mistake. Over there, ladies and gentlemen, it's not a squared, it's just bx. Okay, so that's why I noticed something is wrong, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm just going to remove that part. Okay, so this is how it should look like when it's in the standard form. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, most importantly, with this type of questions, you need to watch my lessons where I teach in detail how the inequalities work, because there's a different approach that you use when you are dealing with inequalities. Okay, but it's almost the same. The procedure is almost the same as that of a quadratic equation. It's only that after factorizing, ladies and gentlemen, you need to find what we call the critical values. Okay, and also represent on the number line and write your final answer in a form of inequality. Okay, massively important, ladies and gentlemen, that you check out that lesson. It contains a lot of information, ladies and gentlemen, which is very, very much important. So in case if you're looking for a specific lesson and you can't easily find it, guys, do drop me a WhatsApp to request for that particular lesson. I will gladly, ladies and gentlemen, share with you a link that will take you directly to the lesson that you can watch. Ladies and gentlemen, question 1.1.4, you're given an equation over there. Massively important, ladies and gentlemen. You need to be aware of that chapter of, I think it's SATs, because when you see a square root, you know there's a different approach. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, with this type of questions where you're given an equation that is a square root, what you need to do is to remain with a square root on the left and equate it to have everything on the right, ladies and gentlemen, just so that it makes your life easy. Obviously, there you've got 1 if it's just a square root, but in this case, ladies and gentlemen, we've got 2 from the equation. Okay, obviously inside the brackets you've got x plus 6. So ladies and gentlemen, on the right side of the equal sign you had x, then you transpose that 2, ladies and gentlemen. It obviously changes the sign and it becomes -2. Massively important, ladies and gentlemen. The reason why you need to do all of these, guys, it's just so that you are able to square the whole of that. Okay, you're able to square the whole of that. Why? To remove the square root. Remember, what you do on the left, you do on the right. What you do on the right, you do on the left. Okay, most importantly, guys, which is what you're most likely to make a mistake, is to forget to square that coefficient, that 2. So that means you must be having 4 into x plus 6. So this is how you remove a square root, ladies and gentlemen. This is how you remove a square root. Then to remove the brackets now, that multiplied by that multiplied by that, and because of that squared, that's why you've got 2 of this. Then you work it out that easy way, ladies and gentlemen. Then from there you work out the like terms, then you move everything on the right to the left side, you transpose. Then, ladies and gentlemen, remember, you equate the whole of that to 0, okay, so that you can use either whatever tool in order to find the factors. Then most importantly, you provide the 2 values of x. Massively important, ladies and gentlemen. Because of the experience that I've got, I'm now able to notice that you're most likely to provide 2 x values for this problem, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so guys, let's now try to move to question 1.2, which is a simultaneous equation, simultaneous problem, ladies and gentlemen, where you are required to solve 2 values, which is the value of x and y. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I've done a lot of lessons where I teach how to approach this type of questions, but in short, ladies and gentlemen, between these 2 equations, you need to identify an equation which is less complicated, of which obviously in that case is equation number 1. Okay, so you make y subject of the formula, whereby in that way you've got your third equation. Okay, so obviously y, it will be equals to 4x minus 2. This is your equation number 3. Okay, so you then substitute this equation number 3 into equation number 2. You solve for the value of y. If you get 2 values of y, then it means you're going to get 2x values. Massively important, ladies and gentlemen. Simultaneous equation, it's not really a complicated equation, ladies and gentlemen. Most of my learners, they now realize that it's not really complicated. It's just that it's a lengthy calculation. So that's how at this point in time, ladies and gentlemen, my learners interpret a simultaneous equation. They're saying it's a lengthy calculation, it's not a complicated calculation. Ladies and gentlemen, attending my WhatsApp lessons will benefit a lot of you in case if you are a learner watching this lesson. Okay, also those who are upgrading, you're also welcome to join my lessons. Okay, massively important, ladies and gentlemen. So now, if it is given that 2 to the exponent x plus 3 to the exponent y, it's equals to 24 to the exponent 6. Determine the numerical value of x minus y. Remember, guys, this is another type of a question which is 1.3. It's not solved for x, but it's a unique type of a question. So here, ladies and gentlemen, especially on question 1, the last question, they're actually testing your understanding of mathematical knowledge. Very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen. They're just trying to to test if you are able to apply your mathematical knowledge to solve almost real type of problems, or if you are able to address or answer the question. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, they want you to tell the numerical value of x minus y. Okay, so that means they want a number, ladies and gentlemen. They want a number. So you should tell what is the value of x, and again you should tell or determine or calculate what is the value of y. If on your calculations from this, ladies and gentlemen, you find the x value to be 4, and based on that same equation, ladies and gentlemen, you find the y value to be 2. Okay, so that means you've got 4 minus 2, which is equals to 2. Can you see? 2 is a numerical value, which is exactly what the question wants you to give, okay, or want you to determine. Massively important, ladies and gentlemen, that you fully understand what the question wants you to calculate. It's not that much complicated, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, your first step is to tackle that part and simplify such that it's in its simplest form. Okay, very, very much important, ladies and gentlemen. I think on the lesson that I'm going to do tonight, I'm focusing on given equations where they want you to simplify without using a calculator. So these are the type of questions that you might be able to answer using the knowledge that I'm going to provide in tonight's lesson. So ladies and gentlemen, this is how you easily score yourself 24 marks. Imagine, ladies and gentlemen, out of 150 getting 20, almost 25. So it's more like you need to work on 125 towards getting total, ladies and gentlemen. It's very, very much easy to get 150 out of 150. That's if you're determined and you're serious about your education. So ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much for joining this lesson, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. So ladies and gentlemen, I think it's about that time where I need to sign out. So guys, in case if you've got any additional questions or comments, so guys, make sure that you join my lesson for today. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Desmond, and I'm out.